So there are 60 people in a choir. Half of the people in the choir are women. The number of women in the choir is 3 times the number of men in the choir. The rest of the people in the choir are children. And here we see a ratio. So the ratio of the number of children in the choir to the number of men in the choir is n to 1. And we need to work out the value of n. So that's our goal, and we've got to show our working as we do that. Okay, so I'm going to assign some letters to make things a bit easier to work with. Okay, so what I've said here is I've said the letter W represents the number of women, C the number of children, and M the number of men. Now we're going to scan through the question to see if there's any relevant information we can assign at this point. So we know there are 60 people in the choir. Okay, so from that I can say we've got W plus C plus M, because all the women, children and men, when you add them all together, the total is going to be 60, because there are 60 people in the choir. That's great, we've used that line now. Okay, so the next line, half the people in the choir are women. Okay, so W equals half of 60. It's going to be 30, so we know there are 30 women in the choir. Next up, the number of women in the choir is 3 times the number of men in the choir. Okay, so the number of women is 3 times the number of men. So now from this one, what I can say, I can work out how many men there are. Because we know there are 30 women, so we're going to say 3m equals 30. So m, if we divide both sides by 3, we're going to get that there are 10 men. Okay, so looking back up this top one, we've got women plus children plus men is 60. But now we know women and men. So what I can say is we're going to write out another equation. We're going to say that we've got 30 plus children plus 10 is 60. And if we rearrange the equation to get C to be the subject, we can get C. If we take 10 and 30 away from 60, we'll get that's 20. Now we need to look at this line. The number of children in the choir to the number of men in the choir is n to 1. Okay, so the number of children to the number of men. So if we do a ratio, the number of children to the number of men is 20 to 10. Now we need to get this number to 1. So how do we do that? Well, we divide it by 10. So we're going to do here, divide this by 10, but we've got to divide the other ratio by the same thing. So we're left with 2 and 1. So for every 1 man in the choir, there are 2 children. So therefore, n equals 2. So we get our first mark here for finding out the number of men. Then we got a second mark here for finding out the number of children. And we get our third mark for putting things into this ratio form and working it out. Then we get our final mark for the correct answer of n being 2.